All right, welcome back to the show. I hope the microphone's on. I figured I'd put up this for a little bit of a screensaver, you know, the fire and brimstone or whatever you want to call it. So you guys can close your little player and just listen to me unless you just want to watch fire. It's not actually fire, by the way. It's just vapor with, as if I would have an open flame next to my TV. Come on. This is like just water with the atomizer with a little bit of, it's like lavender scent to make the house smell a little better, basically, but it's not hot, as you guys can't see. It's a LED light. Smoke and mirrors, as they say. Deception. Which brings me up to today's topic. Today we're talking about Jewish people. Yay! It's finally your turn. All right, hit the ban hammer now and unsubscribe and report it. All right, nevertheless, let's go on. So this is kind of where it sits, right? It's been a little over 3 years. I had a secret Jewish girlfriend. By that I mean, I asked her if she was Jewish about pretty much the first day or two that I met her, because she had some type of like Hebrew keychain or something in her car with these, you know, characters, Semitic characters on them. And she denies it. And she's like, no, I'm not Jewish. I'm German and Italian, right? And I accepted it for what it is, even though I know that Jews often hide their identities for reasons that it's well documented that they're a very much hated group for a variety of reasons in many countries on this planet, right? I'll get into all that a little bit later too, but today I'm just talking about my own personal experience, right? Now, I do have a trouble with people that lie to me, especially repeatedly, and especially about petty things. And if the girl would have said to me she's Jewish, it would not have mattered. But this is about her lying to me over the course of 3 years, lying and denying, and me having to use the 7-step scientific method from like the 3rd grade science project and shit to figure out the whole, you know, unravel the deception and figure things out. This is important to me because it's very important that people that are my friends do not lie to me. You must tell me the truth and give me true information at all times, right? Not opinions, just facts, data, and, you know, don't fuck with that shit. It's very important. It's like you putting wrong quotes or wrong information into ChatGPT or this new AI stuff they keep talking about, right? You can tell a computer this, you can ask a computer a question, but the computer is assuming that you're telling it the truth, right? It can only work with the data that you give it. I am the same way, right? And the fact that I have to go and do extra legwork and like pen testing and shit to figure out a bitch's deception is terrible. And it's the primary reason why I'm no longer with her, because of that big lie right there, right? Now, this is actually, I don't really give a fuck about people's religion, right? I don't have a religion, okay? I'm just a stupid runner that runs on the beach and smokes weed or whatever, right? So I don't know what you believe in, and I don't really care. I don't have, you know, my day is too busy to occupy my time with that shit, right? You do you, right? But it's critical that I know what faith people come from, not because I even care so much what they practice or what they read, but it's the people that they know and associate with that are a larger part of this group or whatever, right? Now, Jewish people are very, very secretive, right? Now, I'll say it again, about a quarter of the people in my phone are Jewish. I got a Jewish accountant. About a quarter or the third, or if not almost half of the white girls in my videos are Jewish, just fronting or passing as white, as they say. No one really cares at the end of the day. I tell them all to just dye your hair blonde, you know? Who gives a fuck, right? It'll sell better. But I get along with people. I get along with them all, you know? Up until the point where this lie comes into play. Now, Jewish people have this thing where they believe, and even my ex-girlfriend would say all this shit all the time about this God's chosen people thing. You're God's chosen people. What God chose me to be, a nigger? Is that your logic? So when you guys have seen over the last 3 years, you might have noticed the tone of my podcast and shows has changed a bit. It's because I had this lying bitch in my life, right? That's why I was doing shows about, you think homeless people are better than you, and I don't like your plan, it sucks. Look at my last dozen shows and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's like, to explain to you what's going on in my head is I'm trying to make sense of what this woman's trying to tell me, or logic, and it's definitely not computing until I finally put 2 and 2 together and figured out she's a fucking Jew, right? Really. So it's that bad, it's that deep. It took me a long time to learn my mistake and process the information, but I'm glad that I did, and I'm glad I'm not continuing to waste my life with someone that thinks they're actually a better human than me because they were born that way, and some invisible cracker in the sky apparently granted them this power. Now, here's what gets really interesting, right? Especially, I'm not even talking about white people right now. I'm talking about Jewish people, right? Jewish people are non-athletic. The only sport they do is running, long-distance running, which is no coincidence, which is why I met her at a race, right? It's about the only thing Jews do good is run long distances, and I wonder why. They've been expelled from so many fucking countries or whatever, right? They got good practice, but you can't outrun an Ethiopian. So I'm doing well at these races, and I meet her and whatever, and I should have put 2 and 2 together, even though I asked her straight up the obvious question, are you Jewish? Now, I should have looked at the last name and said, oh, yeah, she is, but I accepted her lie. See, Jews are used to lying to niggers and non-Jews like it's water, and that's a problem to me. It's a huge fucking problem, right? Now, I have this book in front of me here that I bought. It was donated by a person named Rabbi Weiss. It's the children's Bible written by, Golden Books. It's a book I had as a child. I bought it on eBay. I got taxed almost $20 for it. But the most important piece of information is on the front page here, or in the book cover, down here. If you guys can read that. I think I did this on a previous show where I was talking about JBW. If you could zoom in, it says, The Old Testament, Rabbi David H. Weiss, Congregation Rodef Shalom, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. But remember that last name. It's a common one. It's a common last name for Jews that only Jews have. Now, when I met this girl, or woman, I should say, who's actually an old lady, almost 20 years of my senior or something, for those of you that want to know. And it's important that I say this, because a lot of people criticize me, oh, you fucking them young girls, them little teenagers, so-and-so. Listen, man, I don't discriminate, man. I fuck with fat bitches, old bitches, black bitches, white bitches, women, girls of all flavors and types. Okay, especially for this work shit. Especially for that. But even in my own private life, I see the tripod just fell there. Even in my own private life, I have enough sense to know that there's value in all humans, right? You're still another water drinking, air breathing human like me, right? So just because someone's going through, I used to be 330 fucking pounds, right? So I know what it feels like to be fat, right? I know what it feels like to be black and broke and homeless and all of the above. So I give people a lot of slack because I know that most of the time, people's situations are somewhat transitionary or temporary, especially if you catch them on the downstroke or whatever, right? You shouldn't hold that against them, because I've been that person. Frequently am, on account of a lot of other fucking people like this, right? Now, I could go into the whole ins and outs of what got dirty, what did wrong and stuff like that. That's nonsense. That's any relationship's going to have its ups and downs, and I'm not here to go and talk about those type of battles. What I'm talking about are the humane and humanity differences where Jewish people see themselves as better or greater than, especially black people. But even they see themselves as better than white people too, or whatever. Again, God's chosen people. God's chosen people. Right? You genetically recessive motherfuckers that have Tay-Sachs. Do you know that Jews are the only ethnic group of people that have about 20 diseases unique to them? Like niggers are known for getting high blood pressure and sickle cell anemia, for instance, right? White people, Caucasian Americans, are often known for getting osteoporosis, skin cancer, shit like that. Asian people, Filipinos in particular, tend to get gout a lot and like vision problems and stuff, I've heard. So everyone's got a little bit of a hiccup. No one's immune to, you know, life or whatever happening to them or whatever, right? But Jews take the cake, often due to inbreeding and other things like that. But if your God chose you, why did he chose you to have all these fucking diseases, right? I live in Vegas. There's a ton of fertility clinics. It's in a Jewish neighborhood. I lived in Las Vegas for about 6 months. That's another story. I'll tell about why I moved out there too. But I noticed that Jewish people have a lot of fertility problems. They can't conceive. How do I know? I was a sperm donor a long time ago too. And I've seen the families or whatever that come into this place. Again, these clinics or stuff are in my neighborhood. They spend tens of thousands of dollars to like just get pregnant. You know, black chick gets pregnant by breathing air in a hallway. You know, it's like, what the fuck, right? So there are things in my mind that make me question this shit. When people feel like they're special or chosen or this and this and this, I'll be like, well, why are you so short? Why are you so weak? Why can't you run, jump, fuck? Why are you such a crippled fucking human? In other words, let's just be blunt about it, right? You run like you got the COVID-19. What the fuck's the problem? Step on it. I don't get it, right? I really don't get it. But anyway, that's just an Ethiopian runner's perspective. Or are you guys are all like moving in slow motion as far as it looks in like my own point of view. It's just like me riding the motorcycle. Everyone's just driving in reverse once the starting pistol goes off, right? So let's go talk about this chick here, right? And the Jewishness of her, the Jew in denial. Because it fucked with my head. Because I'd be like, well, why is she treating this way? She said she's not Jewish, but she's behaving very Jewish. What's going on here? Now, here's the thing. In 3 years, I've never met anybody from this lady's family. I met a few of her so-called liberal friends, fags and lesbians and things of this nature, but she's kept me away from her family. I've never met her, son, dog, sister, brother, you know. And one of the things that really hurt my feelings the most, whether she knows it or not, is that I'm a runner. As you guys look at my videos, I'm running on the beach every fucking morning. 5 miles, 10 miles, 20 miles, I don't care. I like to run, right? This girl will work at home. I should quit saying this girl. This grown-ass grandma woman in her 60s, okay, she would work at home, right? I respected that. And would pretty much go running with her around her parking lot or neighborhood all the time in the morning before her shift. Because I know what it's like for people that have 9 to 5s and whatever, and I'll make adjustments and things of this nature. I went too far in doing this, by the way. You know, it was just fucked up, man. It fucked me up. So, get this. Get this. Every Saturday morning, this woman goes running with her other friends who also are runners. I've only met them once or twice in 3 years, although every Saturday they go running on the beach for 7 miles, 10 miles. They'd send me a picture of this and that. I never once got invited to that run after 3 years. That means 52 weeks in a year times 3. You went on this run on the beach supposedly 150 times, and I've never once been invited because our friends are present, you know? I'm a piece of I'm good enough to fuck in private, but not good enough to take a Facebook picture with, or this or that, or she's got like alias names on the name tag. She's so embarrassed of me, right? How can you be in a relationship with somebody who you're embarrassed of, who you think is a subhuman, sub-ape monkey or something, and you feel like you were placed on this earth to dominate them, and they're just here to serve you? Help you move, help you do heavy lifting, and help you, you know, fill up your fucking Jew cave and hang shit on the walls of your Jew cave. That's all this bitch cared about, right? And it took me a while to process this, and I would have broken up with her sooner had I put the Jewish thing into the equation and been like, oh, that's the missing puzzle, a piece of the Jenga puzzle or whatever, you know. That's why. That's why. So that's the problem that I have with the Jewish people. The ultimate superiority complex that they, and it's not, it's their fault if they hold on to this non-factual belief system, right? You know it's false. You know it's fake. You know it's weak. You know you're a weak little motherfucker. That's why you guys are always running around so fucking scared. Almost every Jewish person I know is heavily armed. Heavily armed. They got all kinds of, they're ready for some shit to go down on them because maybe not them, but other people who maybe look like them are creating major problems for other people in this and other parts of the world, right? People ain't with that shit. You're not just gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, just like I told this story on the previous episode about how the girl at the mall denied giving me a flyer, probably because I'm black and I look like I shouldn't be there or whatever. Well, the same thing applies to Jewish people or whatever, right? People are going to raise hell with you if people that look like you are also raising hell with other people that they know in other parts of the world. It's like the guilt by association thing, right? So that's why. But yeah, man, this whole psychological thing totally fucked with my head. So for those of you that don't know, I was previously married to a fat white bitch in Canada, the baby mama, mother of my kids, and I'll double down and say fat white bitch again, simply because I didn't let her fatness be a handicap to prevent me from having a relationship with her, loving her, or attempting to, and starting a family with her. That's why I bring that up, right? The bitch has always been fat. She's always been a bitch too. Why would you marry her? That's another question within itself. But regardless, I didn't hold that as an anchor or a weight and be like, oh, you're white. Oh, you're fat. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. You know, there's a million reasons someone could give you to not go buy a car or a bike. But if you want to buy the car or bike, you're going to go do it any fucking way because it's your life, right? So that's all that I'm getting at. But the Jew games are the worst, man. I really, I don't even want to know, actually. If you're Jewish, don't even comment on this shit. Just go ahead and report the video. I know you want to do it. But, yeah, man, it's like, when you treat people subhumanly, what do you think it does to their psyche? And for one, if you lied to me about being a Jew, then I can't believe anything else you said. Because I've asked you that on like day 1, day 2 or something like that. You know what I mean? That means the last 900 something fucking days are all just more Jew lies, right? What do I believe and what don't I believe, you know? Now, this particular chick, this is actually the second girl that I've known that's had an ex that's killed himself. The Black Widow bitch, right? I was dating the Black Widow bitch. How about that, right? And I still didn't hold that against her, which shows you how big my fucking heart is, right? It's definitely a red flag if a girl's ex is fucking dead. Why? Because most of the time, if a man kills himself, it's over a fucking woman. It's not going to be over a fucking man. He'll just go and fight that man or fuck that man up or whatever. When guys delete themselves, it is over a chick, right? And I don't worry, I'm not going that route. The old bitch will be dead long before me. Just by chronology or whatever. That's just nature and science, whether you like to accept it or not or whatever. But that's totally off the record or whatever. But my thing is like this. While you are freely walking and roaming the earth, it is on you that you don't make other people's life difficult and mistreat them and ask other people to do things that you wouldn't do for yourself. Right? I'm telling you right now this story from 10, 20, whatever, however many 20,000 miles away. Because there's a lot of dudes that, you know, they're in this same situation that I'm in. Maybe they don't realize. Maybe they're not with a fucking Jew, but they're with a girl that doesn't care about them at all. You know, and they've been sold the fantasy of a relationship or companionship, but they're really just being treated subhumanly. You know, Jews treat people, at least they treat their order of operation as Jews, other Jews, white people, dogs, niggers, and other minorities after that. So I'm like fourth in the pecking order down the list or whatever, right? I can't transform into a cracker or a dog, so I'm fucked, right? Now this girl, this woman, is correcting myself again. For those of you that think I'm just this maniac sex monster or whatever, I'm not with her for the sex, okay? I'm with her because we share the same, we at least appeared to share the same passion for running and this and that. But apparently I'm wrong in that, because I was not invited to many races. I was not invited to many trainings, and I'm just like this guy that just got pushed off for whatever. And the most common excuse that I got, oh, can't be in a picture with you. You're the porno guy. What will my corporate bitch friends think? I gotta worry about my Jew shit, my Roth IRA, 401k, my retirement. It's like, really? You actually think that shit means something to me? It's interesting, people that have these corporate careers for decades or whatever. Interesting to me. How can you go and do the same thing for just like decades, not even for yourself, but for someone else? And what do you do when this person doesn't like you, or this and this and this and that and the other, right? Then you're fucked, huh? Well, at least you weren't born as a nigger. So when you're born as a nigger, you have to make your own way. Nobody can fire me, which is good. You can go strike down. Oh, nigga, I don't like you. I'm gonna go strike down your video. I'm gonna report your video, nigga. It has no gravity, no impact on me, whatever. Whereas, like, when you're working for these fuckers, if you make a bad Twitter, or whatever, X, or you make a bad tweet or whatever, that goes your job. There goes your mortgage. There goes your car. There goes your life. There goes your spouse. There goes your wife. There goes everything out the door, because you couldn't bite your tongue and, choke it down or whatever. But the problem, and I actually do feel bad for her, even though she's a bitch. I feel bad for her and anyone working in a corporate environment where you're basically handcuffed. You cannot be yourself. You have to be this character. And in order for you to be yourself, your true self, you have to go and do that alone in the privacy of your home or whatever. And this is why I think Jews date niggers for the most part too. The girl was with me, the lady, the woman, the granny was with me for the most part, because I think I made her feel human. You work in an inhumane world, you have a robotic job, your life actually sucks dick. So what? You have money, but you spend it all and give it away on rent. It's like, that's like some of the dumbest. So much for that 140 IQ thing, right? It's interesting to say that Jews have 140 IQs, and they probably helped to author the IQ test. And they say that niggers have the lowest one. I got the lowest IQ. How come I'm the one that's the property landlord, the so-called house master, as they call it here? How come I'm landlording and webmastering, and I'm not bowing or bootlicking or sucking up to anybody, and I'm living a good life? Why is that? If you have double my intelligence, why are you just working until you turn into a skeleton? I used to say. That was the basis of my show I did a couple months ago called I Don't Like Your Planet Sucks. Yeah. Most of you that are working towards retirement will never see it. And if you do, you'll be disabled and crippled and limping and won't be able to enjoy or do anything. You won't be able to run, jump, fuck, go on hot air balloon rides, swim with sharks, or any of these like cool retirement passions that you might be considering that you're doing. Life comes at you very quickly. Today, speaking of that little mall incident, while I was at the mall at the food court, I saw a lot of old white dudes there, man. A lot of them had big, fat, swollen cankles. You could tell they got high blood pressure at the bottom. I seen this one dude, man, the bottom of his ankle was like purple. And as like going up his leg, it got more towards the more natural pink color of his body. But the shit looked like this muffler I just ordered with the anodized tip, where it starts out purple, then it kind of chameleons into a little gold or whatever. That's the niggers how his skin looked, son, right? Now how good is your retirement? If you make it to the Far East, whatever, you got a little 401k, you got a pension or whatever, but your leg looks like a fucking Honda muffler that's been chromed out and shit. What the fuck, man? Well, you don't have a good life like that. You've made terrible decisions, and you should have done this like 20 years ago, really. So many people here are trying to play catch up, You can't regain back years, and you guys that are corporate slaves, you've chosen to sell the best years of your life where you're in the best shape, you look the best, you got the best smile, girls actually like you, stuff to that nature. You sacrifice all that to go work for a heartless machine that's going to churn you out fat, hairless, disabled, cricket back, broken, and the money they give you is going to get ate the fuck up by inflation, and you're probably going to lose your house, life, wife, kids, and everything else any fucking way, right? That's a very interesting predicament to be in. I wouldn't want to be in it, man. But again, hey, like doing what I do is the end result of like years, if not decades, of planning and execution or whatever, right? So anyway, going back to the Jewish thing, man. Yeah, don't get in the comments. I don't want to hear your Jew shit, actually, man. I don't want to hear the other side either. I don't want to hear no Muslim shit, Palestine, Israel, none. This is not the channel for that shit. I'm a pornographer that runs, and I don't care. I don't have a dog in your race. I don't support either side, but I don't like liars. I don't like liars. So this story is just about one particular lying Jewish woman, right? Now, if I ask you something like this, I don't ask too many questions of many people at all, actually, if you guys can't tell. I'm not interested in digging in people's business, whereas this woman, on the other hand, she's got, I mean, look, if I'm with someone, they know me, they trust me, they have pretty much full access to me. You know what I'm saying? This girl knows the lock. I said it again. This old lady has the lock code to my phone, you know, ATM pin codes, shit like that. All sorts of private, privy information that I'd only give to the most trusted, loved people in my life, right? Right? Whereas her, I can't even take a fucking picture with her. There's not a picture of me on the wall in her house. There was one picture of me on the fridge for like a month after I was like, hey, I got a poster of you in my house and you got like a little fucking, you don't have a Polaroid of me, you're not even? What the fuck, right? Now, the man inside me says, oh, well, she's got another boyfriend. She's got another fuck toy. She's fucking this guy, that guy. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I don't care. That has no weight on me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not with that serial monogamy. Monogamy has no actual weight or value to me. So I don't give a fuck about that kind of stuff, right? But I do expect to be treated like a human being and not be lied to. I don't tell lies to people, which is hard for Jews. That's what I'm getting at, right? How are you going to just look someone in the eye and lie to them and tell them that you love them all the time? And, you know, you get all these, anytime you're in some little relationship, you get all these stupid fucking, hey, good morning, how are you, love you much, all that shit's meaningless. Absolutely meaningless if you have lies in the mix. Even one lie fucks up all that shit for me, right? I need, just like in AI, I need reliable, factual, truthful information to base everything else in my world off. Because look at it like this, man. If I'm riding my motorcycle down the road and I hear something that I haven't heard before, a new sound, a funny vibration or something like that, you know, I'm not going to wait until I get home to look at it. I'm pulling over right away to say, hey, man, the fuck? That feels a little funny. That tire feels like maybe it's a little low. Something, does the chain need tightening? Something's off that needs to be adjusted. I'm not just going to ignore it. That's how my shit lasts for so long, man. Preventative maintenance or whatever, right? So the same applies in life. It's like, okay, this happened, but why did it happen? Okay, and if I can't figure out why it happened, I'm going to burn up countless, if not hundreds of thousands of hours trying to run all these situations through my head and say, how could that be? How could that happen? What if this? What if that? To find out it was all because of a lie that I could have easily figured out, and to discover the, you know, thousands of days and hours I've wasted here, it kind of bothers me a little bit, right? Being truthful is a very big thing. It's a very big thing. Now, most people, as you say, you know, most people, they're on some shit where like, oh, well, she cheated on me, they cheated on me, they're on that TV drama shit. Oh, you cheated on me. I'm not on that shit, right? I'm just on truth. Just tell me what happened, or tell me what you are or who you are, without the aliases, without the backstories, without the buttering shit up. Just tell me straight up what is what it is. And if I look at the girl, the woman, the lady, the bitch, I look her in the eye and I see a hesitation or a pause, there's a definite problem. Because, you know, I'm a very simple, basic person. I love with my heart, and I say what I'm going to do and do what I'm going to say. If any of you folks listening to me say, if I ever say I'm coming to show up in person, I'm coming to show up there in person. If not, the crackers got me in handcuffs or they deported me or something like that. But I'll be there when I said I'm going to be there, unless the fucking army takes me down. Right? That's just the way I roll. I don't front with people and say, yeah, man, okay, I'm going to do this, and then I don't do it. Or I'm going to come through, and da-da-da, and I don't come through. You know, you have a very bad reputation. How could I actually survive as a producer doing this? What if I called up a model and was like, all right, yeah, girl, yeah, we're going to do this shoot on Sunday, so and so, and I'll be there at 3 o'clock. And 3 o'clock comes, I'm not there. No call, no show. The girl didn't showed up. You know, this happened. Oh, she paid for her flight or Uber, her test. She's already $500 in the hole, something like that. I'd be an asshole if I canceled the shoot like that, right? Word would get out about me like wildfire on all these channels, Twitters. Every producer would know. Every girl would know, hey, don't fuck with that guy. That guy doesn't keep his word. That kind of shit, right? Now, I've been doing this business for a long time, for decades, man. Under the same principle of just tell the truth. Pay what you're going to pay. I pay the rate I was going to pay. I don't, you know, it's like, it's that simple, man. You could be very successful in life if you just do what the fuck you're going to say you're going to do. That's all. If you say you're going to go pay a bill, go pay the bill. If you say you're going to do this, go do this. That's it. It's all you have to do. You'd be surprised how many people try to skate through life by not keeping their word or by making promises and not holding on to them. Okay? I sound like I'm preaching here, but that is what it is, man. But yeah, so anyway, my whole point of talking this show, not to extendedly drag this shit out for like a really long time, because it's not really worth it. The basis of that whole Jewish thing is like, Jews don't want you to know that they're Jews because Jews do fucked up shit to people around the world. That's all. Now, if she would have told me that's what she is, I would have accepted that, and I probably still would have been friends with her and still wouldn't have made any difference to me. It just would have made things a lot more clear, right? Now, she can go and tell her son that she's a nigger lover or whatever. I don't care. I used to hear stories about her crazy son or crazy ex-husband, all of whom may be fictional characters for all that I know. Who the fuck knows? Once the Jew lies, they like write cartoons and comic strips. Who you think makes them? So who knows how far or how wide or how vast her net of lies is, but it's pretty fucked up. She's a fucked up person for that reason, you know. I think I did some other episode about avoid reality at all costs, and I disagree with that. The girl, the woman, the lady, the bitch, the Jew, she had a sticker on her refrigerator that said, avoid reality at all costs. And I think about a month before I broke it off with her, I said to her, hey, man, you know, I don't like that sticker on your refrigerator. Which one? The one that says avoid reality at all costs. Why are you trying to avoid reality? What is so painful and suffering about your reality in your Jew cave? Please do tell me. You got all the furnishings in the world from Marshalls, TG Mix, Ross. Got her a fat fucking TV for a wall. You know, it's like, hey man, like, what are you so depressed about? You got employment, 6 figures, high-speed internet, a black boyfriend that's decades younger than you that actually gives a shit about you. Jews are never happy, never satisfied, even though they're God's chosen people. Why is that? Another tangent I'll go off on, too, since she's, my father's from Germany, whatever, just like the Weiss guy in the fucking Bible book I showed you guys. Well, I got a theory now that German Jews are actually the worst ones. That's my theory. German Jews are the worst ones. I mean, Hitler would know. I mean, they've been to a variety of countries and been expelled from a variety of countries. But knowing what I know now, I think the German ones must be of a particular flavor. People dislike or whatever, right? So, again, you can't judge a book by all covers. I'm sure there's some good German Jews out there. I just haven't met them yet. That's all that I'm saying. The only ones I've met have lied to me to my face and, you know, used me like property, treated me worse than a dog, You know, it's like shit's fucked up, man. Why do you do that to people that actually care and give their heart to you or whatever, right? So on another side note, again, like I haven't had a girlfriend in like a decade prior to meeting her, right? So I actually stopped shooting movies for almost a year, maybe just over a little bit over than a year. I moved to Vegas thinking like, okay, well, you know, there's a lot of talent there. I got friends, you know, could help out, stuff like that, right? But I didn't shoot for the whole year because she kept giving me flack about, oh, you love me, you wouldn't be doing this, you know, it's not going to be cool, you can be monogamous, and even though I'm a fucking porn producer, right? I don't ask her to change anything about her little Jew world, right? But you want to change everything about mine. You want to turn me economically upside down. I'm going broke, I'm doing this, all the dating is expensive. Even though, you know, you got a chick that makes 3-4 times as much money than you, you're still paying for shit, you're still buying her shit, costs money to go to and from. It's no reciprocity or whatever. It's just use. Jew. Why? They're God's chosen people and everyone else is their footstool. It makes sense now. That's why you have to ask these questions, right? Religion's actually an important question to ask, especially of older people too. You know, I did a traveling episode. I went to Indonesia some years ago on a visa run, right? This little city called Batam. Right. I didn't have a very good experience there either. But as soon as I landed there and got through immigration, I took a taxi to the hotel. The taxi driver, he asked me, what religion am I? And I was like, what? What kind of country is this or whatever, right? Apparently their country's divided between Christians and Muslims, Indonesia or whatever, right? It's like, I don't know, it's 50-50 or 80-20 or something. I don't know what the ratio is, right? But they ask you for a reason. I get into the taxi and I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm neither. You know what? I no religion or something. I told him in my best broken English or whatever. He looked a little shocked, like, nigga, you better choose a side, right? But there's a reason for that, so that people pretty much determine how they're going to treat you, right? Which is most interesting to me. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much my story about the old Jew, you know. And another side story too that I'll say, this is just worthy of another episode, but she links into it some kind of way. As I get older in life, right, one of the true realizations I've come to is you should not by default trust older people and also handicapped people, right? Remember, they became old and handicapped for a reason. Usually they've manipulated or shilled their way through life. This is very true. Very true. About the handicap thing, listen, this lady wasn't handicapped, not far as I know, but there was a dude who's actually in a wheelchair that lives in New York. He goes by the name of, what was his nigga's name? I think it was like King Joe or King James. I think it might be King Joe. I had to look it up. I don't know. It's been a couple years or whatever, right? But anyway, it's a crippled nigga in a wheelchair that lives in New York. And he was stealing my movies to put, he owns some website called streethoodworld.com, .ca, .something, and it's a series or whatever. And the dude actually had a couple videos that he made in Sosua on his page. He thought it would be a good idea to go and steal my movies from Tatico's, take the watermarks off, take the transitions off, and replace that with his watermark on top of mine. Blatant content theft and forgery, right? I called my Jew lawyer up like this, and he's like, you want this guy's house? And so and so. And I was like, nah, just tell the nigga to take my shit down and send him a warning or whatever about the shit, right? Which they did. But my point in telling you guys this story, just because the guy is handicapped, don't think they can't steal from you. Just because the bitch is old, don't think she can't steal and lie to you. And don't think they haven't been doing it for decades before you were born. So another story about this. Okay, there was an old lady. I did a show about homeless people some while ago, right? Unless there's excruciating circumstances, like a starving child on the street or whatever, I'm not going in my pocket to give $1 to nobody. You guys probably know that by now, right? Ain't nobody helping me when I'm out of breath, running on the beach, whatever. I done ran 10 miles. Ain't nobody giving me a free bottle of water. I got to pay $1 to use the pay toilet or whatever. And no, there's no charity. You got to plan ahead for that kind of shit, right? Well, I think my last trip here, actually, just like 3 or 4 months ago, I was actually here in Thailand. It's the older lady, older Thai lady is like, there's not that many street beggars here, but occasionally in the tourist area, you might see 1 or 2 in the evening or whatever, but Buddhist countries really not too many beggars or whatever, right? But anyway, there's an old lady by the mall. I'm walking to go to my place to like pick up my suit from this like tailor guy. And it's hot out, man. It's like a couple months ago, it was very hot during a heat wave. It's got to be like 95, 100 degrees, but the sun's down, but it's still hot at night. Me walking from my bike to the mall, I'm starting to break a sweat, right? Now, behind the telephone pole, there's an old lady with like a soda cup with change in it, and she's like shaking it, begging for change or whatever, right? And it's so fucking hot, and I looked over at her, and her leathered face looked to be in her 70s or 80s or something like that. And I just said to myself, God damn. So, you know, I go in my pocket and gave her like $1 or whatever, and was like, yeah, go get yourself some water or whatever, right? And I continued to go on and pick up my suit, tried it on, and I come back out of the shop like 15 minutes later, walking back towards my bike. Now, as I'm walking back towards the bike, I see the helpless old lady behind a different telephone pole off to the side, kind of in the shadow, and she's counting money, dollar bills in her hand. She has more money in her hand than I do. And I'm saying to myself, holy fucking shit, this bitch got me, right? So just because they're old, or just because they're crippled, or just because they're a woman, doesn't mean you should automatically believe them. Now that old lady there, that scamming bitch there, both of them actually, her and the fucking Jew, they fucked it up for every old lady and every other Jew. No, I'm not going that far, right? But it's opened up my eyes. So yeah, for the next little while, I'm super skeptical of anybody that's younger than me. For one, older women are always going to attempt to dominate you, run the show, and that's no fun. The fuck? Who wants? Do I need more gray hairs? Do I need to pluck out more hair from my scalp? Fuck that. Fuck that. You go run your old cracker into the fucking grave, or go kill another ex-boyfriend. Better yet, not me. Fuck you. So yeah, that's where a lot of that Jew shit comes from, man. And like, it's like I tried my best. For one, if you're in a relationship, you shouldn't have to try to do any fucking thing, right? But I tried in the past tense to offer my understanding, my this. Okay, well, maybe she's right about that. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe this, maybe that. Well, at the end of the day, the truth came out, and she's a fucking Jew, a lying fucking Jew piece of shit, and fuck her. So that's where I stand on that. And that's my personal experience with Jewish people. Okay? Now, there are other Jewish people in my life, in my world. If they're friends, we're cool on some level because we're in the same industry. If they're business associates, it's because I hired them to be a lawyer or an accountant, and that's what they're doing their job for, right? But, there's a lot of people out there that espouse a lot of hatred or whatever, and they've never met a black person in their life. They've never met a Jewish person in their life. And I'm just dropping this story now to tell you my own personal experience, just surface level disrespect, maltreatment, subhuman treatment. There's shit. I could go on this show for hours spilling the beans about all this shit if I felt like it. And I just may do it because it might actually make me feel better. Maybe it's part of the healing process or whatever, right? But there's been things that I'll bring up I'd say like in the last year that I was with her, I maybe slept in this lady's bed maybe 3 times throughout the course of the entire year. Is that normal for a couple? Is it normal that you have to always go and sleep on a guest bed or the fuck couch or something like that? What's up with that? Is there something I should know about you in your Torah? I don't get that. Yeah, Jews are a very strange creature that I'd rather not deal with. So anyway, I'll get on more about this. There'll be a part 2 to this for sure. I need to go to the market and get some food. I realize a lot of you have a very short attention span, so I'm going to try to keep all my shows under an hour or 45 minutes or something like that. And I see my clock is ticking in that direction. Why don't I go and recharge my batteries, and I'll come back and there'll be more talk about the Jews part 2. How about that? Yay! Shemmy Cash signing out. Talk to you guys soon after I get my noodles.